Hello and welcome back to yet another weekly sports review. And I do want to begin this off by paying my tributes to a legend of the game in football. Kevin Keegan sadly lost his battle with cancer yesterday, and I just want to pay tribute to the man who did a lot for the game, managed England for a year, a bit of a legend in the Newcastle area and Liverpool area, but may he rest in peace. Now let's get on to the news from this week. We'll start with, of course, as every week it's been for the last few weeks, and for the very last time, we talk about the World Cup. We had a lot happen in the last week. We've seen England lose to Argentina. We've seen France lose to Spain. And then on the weekend, we had two massive games. Now, when you look at these, you're thinking, surely the World Cup final is going to be a lot more interesting than the third place playoff, considering that the World Cup final saw two hat tricks, and of course penalties, where Argentina did narrowly beat France. However, that wasn't the case. England played France out in the bronze medal final, 6-4. England were 4-0 up at half time. France made it back to 4-3. England scored twice. England scored again to make it 5-3. France made it 5-4. England scored a penalty to make it 6-4. That is arguably the best game of football I've ever seen. I mean, it's one of the best since France lost to Spain 5-4. So, another big scoring game where France have lost, but I think they've had a decent World Cup. Obviously, Didier Deschamps now leaving after 14 years in the role, so best of luck to him. And also good luck to Zinedine Zidane, who is allegedly taking over the France job come September. Speaking of managerial jobs, before we get to the World Cup final, we've also got the news from Germany that former Liverpool manager and Dortmund manager Jurgen Klopp is set to take over there, following the departure of Julian Nagelsmann a few weeks ago. After Germany were knocked out of the World Cup in the round of 16. Actually, no, it might be round of 32. Either way, two absolutely massive managers, especially with the rumour now that Pep Guardiola is allegedly going to go to Italy as well. We had Pep Guardiola, Klopp, and who did I just say? God, mine's gone out already. Yeah, if we had Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola, and Zinedine Zidane, all international managing, that would be insane. That would be nice to see, and also, that would be nice to see, and I think it'd do a lot for the game and make next World Cup very, very interesting. In fact, it'd make the next Euros very interesting with them all managing European clubs. Imagine that. Just think about that. That would be insane. Now, more importantly, probably the most important game this weekend, well, what should have been the most important game this weekend, was the World Cup final. And obviously, there's a lot going on. There was a lot surrounding it. We had the halftime show, which lasted about 30 minutes. You had Ronaldinho and Ronaldo driving a car, looking very awkward, a bit like Harvey Price there. We had Madonna stood behind them. Very, very odd image, and must have say one of the weirdest images I've ever seen. We had Robbie Williams coming out before the match singing the FIFA anthem, and then Trump obviously trying to get in the photo of the Spain playing World Cup photo, but Spain did rather hilariously edit him out. So I think that sums up what they think about him. There's obviously a lot of rumours going around at the moment that Infantino is going to be kicked out and sacked by FIFA, but those rumours haven't come true yet, and I think they will come very soon. We'll see in the next few weeks what's going to happen. But of course, the main game remained 0-0 for, I think it was 106 minutes, which is insane. But it's yeah. Two, obviously, a very dodgy final, and I think it was proven to be by not being a very interesting final at all. And then, of course, Leandro Paredes decided to start punching people at the end of the match. Very weird way to deal with a loss. But yeah, of course, congratulations to Spain, champions of the world. I'd argue they deserve it more than Argentina. They were the best team at this tournament. They only conceded one goal. Unai Simon keeping 7 clean sheets out of a possible 8 it's an incredible record, and I think he'd be very proud of himself. Yeah, the most in World Cup history. Nobody has slipped clean sheet as much as he has in the World Cup, and I think that's good. Good on him. Good on him. One of the best. I think he's one of the best keepers at the moment, and has been for a little while now. I think, yeah, it could be a good sign for Athletic Club next season. Okay, I will obviously now I'm going to cover awards for that this season. I want to say my favourite player of this World Cup. I quite enjoyed watching Bellingham. I thought he was playing. I think the underdog of the World Cup's got to go to Cape Verde, and I'd have my player of the tournament to go to Vecina, who, despite their early exit, was unbelievable for them, and that kept a clean sheet against Spain, and played incredibly well against Argentina, who the two teams that ultimately went on to be in the World Cup final. A fair play to him. Now, I am going to move on from that now. I feel there's not much more to talk about now, as if from it's not, because we do have other big topics to talk about. And first of all, of course, another major tournament from this weekend was the Open. Golf's final major tournament this weekend. I did try to do a predictions video on it for that and the Darts World Matchplay, which I'll talk about in a minute. But YouTube refused to let me upload it, which was a bit stupid. But here we go. Now, Ryan Fox won it. He played incredibly well. I think he was about second going into the weekend and just kept his composure the entire time, never falling whatsoever. He was always there, up in the top 5 for pretty much the entirety of the weekend. Much deserved win. Holding a birdie on the 18th to win it and ruin Cameron Young's dreams. But do you know what? Well played to him. His first, what I presume is his first ever major. Yeah, fair play to him. His first ever major. Some will know him as the son of New Zealand rugby legend Grant Fox. So he'll be proud. And yeah, fair play to Ryan. I did manage to watch it, lots of it this weekend, thankfully, and it was a great tournament. It was lovely to see all the players. I was shocked, particularly by the way that McIlroy played. I didn't think he'd do as badly as he did. I think he just about made the cut. I didn't think he'd make the cut going into the weekend, but he did. He just about made the cut, but I didn't even manage to crack the top 10 in the end. But I don't know what happened there. Very odd. Okay. Now, I will say my bet. I thought some of the best players this week. I thought Tommy Fleetwood played particularly well. The moment of the weekend obviously has to go to his incredible monster of a 48-meter putt, right from the back end of a green, potting it right to the other end. An amazing putt, and I proved why he honestly his major is coming soon. He hasn't won a major yet, but it's coming soon. I'm telling you, it's coming soon. He deserved to win that. He easily could have won that on the weekend, but he just didn't have the right to finish it off. But soon enough, it's coming. It was an incredible putt from him, an incredible weekend, and one particularly to be proud of from Fleetwood on his homecoming tournament as he grew up literally just round the corner at Southport. But as I say, an amazing tournament for him. Also, like to discuss that I thought just it was surprising. It was surprising to see the lack of big players making a big playing well this tournament. There wasn't many big players playing particularly well. Majority of them made the cut. I think the biggest shock this weekend that wasn't making the cuts, I think it was Justin Rose didn't make the cut. Literally just got under. There was a lot of players that didn't make the cut this weekend. I'll hang on. I'll get a list out of the big players that didn't make the cut this weekend. Right. So of the players that didn't make the cut, we had some of the big players that missed out this weekend. Aaron Rye, Justin Rose, Kim, Justin Day, Matt Fitzpatrick, massive shock. Daryl Clark. I think I saw someone like Jordan Spieth didn't make the cut. Brian Harmon didn't make the cut. Jordan didn't make the cut. Hovland didn't make the cut. All these big players did not make the cut this tournament. I think that just shows why there's a lack of big performances. I mean, we had Matt's brother Aaron finished. Is it Aaron? Alex, sorry. Matt's brother Alex didn't Alex Fitzpatrick finished a low, tied 71st. I think that just shows the lack of big performances from players this weekend and a big shock at this year's tournament. Now, I think that just shows the lack of big players at this tournament and, well, the lack of big players' performances at this tournament and surprise results in the end and left a very unlikely table. Okay, now let's go on to our final big topic of this weekend, which of course was the Darts World Matchplay, an absolute massive tournament which has kicked off. And the reason I chose to film this today, Tuesday morning, is because tonight the second round begins, and we've got some absolute massive matches. I thought I'd like to let's just talk about some of the previous matches. First of all, Rob Cross, the last match of the previous round, which finished around 11:30 last night. He played fantastically. There was a little bit of a pushback from Danny Noppert, but I think Rob Cross was fantastic, and I think he could be a big contender for the title this year of the World Matchplay. Of course, that is not for the World Championship. Now, of course, Aspinall, I think, was my player of the weekend. I think he had the best performance out of anyone that played this weekend. And I honestly believe that if he can beat Littler and get into the quarterfinals, if he can beat, he's playing Littler tonight. If he can beat Littler and get into the quarterfinals, he can win the whole thing. And I think I will have him winning the whole thing. But that obviously it heavily depends on if he doesn't get himself knocked out tonight. He needs to beat Littler. And it's going to be a tough test, but I think that's going to be the match of this round. Absolutely recommend anyone to watch that. Please do. Gerwyn Price. Let's talk about him squeezing his way past. I think it was. I can't remember who he was playing. But Gerwyn Price sneaked his way into the next round. He very nearly lost. He was getting smashed at one point, but he managed to pull himself back and win 11-8, I think it was in the end. Or 11-9. It might be 11-9, actually. Now, the big shock of the weekend, obviously, has to go to Cameron Menzies knocking out world number 2, Luke Humphries. In the very first round, Luke Humphries to go out is a big shock, considering he only won the tournament a few years ago. But it was a big shock to see Luke Humphries go out, but what a performance that was from Cameron Menzies. A 170 checkout to win it. And just composure kept the entire match. A fantastic performance and one 100% to be proud of. Well played, Cameron Menzies. Any other big shocks? Well, I thought Chris Dobie going out to Dirk van Dijvenbode was a bit of a one that I didn't expect to go out. But as I say, there's only been 3 players that have made it through to the next round, and we've talked about all 3 of them. They were Rob Cross, Dirk van Dijvenbode, and Cameron Menzies. Three players that are from the European tour that weren't in the top 16 to go through. The remainder of the players that went through were all in the top 16 of the world rankings, which is surprising. You know, there was a time for ages where Dirk van Dijvenbode was the only one. It didn't take until about the first match yesterday when Chris Dobie went out for the big players to get knocked out. But now we're seeing a lot of big matchups, so a good few days to come up. As I say, Aspinall Littler, I'm gonna go with Aspinall to win that. I'm going with Aspinall to get through. I think Rob Cross is playing Gerwyn Price, so I'm gonna say Rob Cross to win that. I'm not fully sure who Michael van Gerwen is. I'm pretty sure he's playing. So I think he's playing Dirk van Dijvenbode. In which case, if that's right, I'm going to go with Van Gerwen to win that. It'd be surprising if he isn't, but he has been off form, so don't put away a shock for that. And that is pretty much it for this weekend. Thank you very much for listening yet again for me to yapping. Also want to apologise for the lack of quality in these videos. Quite frankly, I don't know how to edit videos. I'm not great with stuff like this. I don't write scripts for these videos at all. I just say what comes to my head and do it as it go along. So I think obviously the majority sports journalism, which essentially what this is a lot of just scripts being read and being told the news to say to people, but I'm not being told this stuff. I'm doing what I'm read and putting it in my own words to say to you lot, which I'm enjoying. So if you are enjoying it, thank you very much. I will be back very soon, and cheerio.